Good morning, Vietnam. Hi, everyone. I hope we're doing all right. Hope sound is good. Maybe sound is a little bit voice. Maybe sound is a little bit loud. Loud. I don't know. Let me know if it's good. Fumbling around with the OBS settings as usual. But until I hear otherwise, I'm going to assume that it's good. Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's stream. My name is Björn and I am one half of the dynamic developer duo behind the MMORPG Haven and Hearth, and today we're going to have our monthly dose of adrenaline in the form of this Twitch stream where we shoot the breeze, talk smack, take the audience questions, and just play the game, fumble around, do low-level basic content, and run through low-level basic content, and yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, how y'all doing? Damn, son, I set the 2 hours of disappointing Shubla, indeed. That is what we aim for. We're just gonna get started here. When I logged on earlier, I could have sworn that my the fireplace that I built last time was still here, but we're gonna do it. No Loftar stream tonight. No, sorry, I spared him. I spared him the I don't know what, the inconvenience of having to be present for the live stream. Robertson asks, "What's with the hat indoors?" I don't know. You don't like it? Should I take it off? Is it better without? I don't know. I keep my hair short these days. When I was a young'un, I had long hair for the longest time. Motivated by laziness mostly. It was not much of a fashion statement. It was just couldn't bother getting a haircut. But now I've realized that the true lazy is cutting your hair short so that you don't have to spend inordinate amounts of time washing it. Bam! Insights. But yeah, it was warm today here in sunny Sweden. Summer has finally arrived in the icy north. I'm gonna disappoint you right away, saying that there will not be a patch tonight. I was contemplating forcing it, but we don't have enough material to really make a good patch, so I'm just not going to do one. I've been really busy this last week, and I've been really tired, and there's been a lot of stuff going on, and those are all excuses. I should not make excuses. I should just be like, I suck. I should just eat that, but whatever, it is what it is. No, I did not get into a fight with Loftar, no. It was mostly that we sat down, started working on a patch, and then we're working on a bigger thing. That bigger thing is no secret. We're working on instance rendering of variable materials, which is perhaps a bit technical, but basically many of the things that you can build in this game, such as, I don't know, tables. You can build a table. Let's build a table. Let's chop down this tree. Let's take everything from it and chop it down. A beard, yeah. It's coming back. It's coming back, boys. I need to trim the mustache a little bit because the stash. I need to trim the stash because it's getting in my food. That's not very nice. Jorb, what are your comments on the recent cart massacre? Will carts be nerfed? I haven't. This cart massacre has gone past me entirely. I have missed this, I'm sure, important event in the history of the Hearthlands. But feel free to inform me. How about that Mannerheim autobiography? Did you read it fully? Yes, I did. I finished it a good while ago now. Finished it. It was good. Not really sure how much I told you about it last time or what my points were, but one of the things that I really got a sense of is that he can't, because the autobiography is written late 40s maybe. I think he dies in the early 50s, like 52 or something, and so he can't be entirely candid, is a sense that I get. Like he can't. There are still like political developments that he can't really discuss candidly. But I really appreciated his, at least later political developments, as events in the Continuation War and such. But I really appreciated his stories from the revolutionary Russia and such. He was obviously an officer in the Russian army. I know I talked about that. I know I talked about that photo where he's standing in front of Tsar Nicholas II at the latter's coronation. Yeah, I finished it. It was good. I can recommend it. I think Mannerheim is one of those characters that he's very central to Northern European, World War history, that you really ought to have read his autobiography, I think. So I can recommend. It was good. It's also a period of history that I'm fascinated by and which interests me, so can recommend. But yeah, we're working on instanced rendering of variable materials, like this table here. As you can see, I'm building the table from spruce, and that is reflected in the materials applied to the table. So we can see on the table that it has the same bark and pulp materials. Not sub to your own game, da fuck? No, I actually am not. I don't, because it would be, it feels like cheating. I've cheated, I've given myself a verification, but I kind of feel that I should play at, me playing at half speed is or half optimal performance feels about right, I think. So, because I think, your perception would be kind of skewed, I think, from a development standpoint, by playing with the subscription active. Plus, I can't be bothered to renew it every so often. So, but yeah, these this table and this chair, they're obviously using the materials from the spruce, and we're not instancing that rendering. And if you don't know what instancing is, basically you dump an array of objects to the graphics card, and the graphics card will then render all those objects simultaneously with it's performance wise very nice, a very nice thing to do. But these are not rendered that way. They're rendered, and we're using OpenGL obviously. So yeah, and so we want to instance these bad boys, and the reason we want to do that is because we want to add in variable materials to all commonplace everyday objects, like this crate that I'm going to build now. Crate useful for storing items such as you can acquire in the game by playing it, which we are currently doing. So we're just going to put the that doesn't go there, that definitely goes there. We're going to use the spindly taproot to craft something soon. Average Benny, did someone say variable cupboards? Yeah, variable everything, my friend. I'm even thinking variable Palisades. We discussed it, and I always imagined that Loftar was wholly against it, but it turns out he's not. So variable Palisades, we're gonna do it, boys and girls. Yeah, it's gonna look maybe crazy. Oh no. Oh God, don't. I think it'll be better than you imagine, because I think normally when you build a palisade, you just cut down all the trees in the vicinity, and they are usually somewhat of the same kinds. So could be fine, could be better than you imagine. If it turns out really horrendous, I could see going with the compromise. Looking in all this variable shit, can you add a button to keep legacy visual in stuff? Not sure what you mean there, Infinity Merlin. Feel free to clarify. I don't know what you mean by legacy. But, I mean, there are other things, like, okay, so Palisades maybe are controversial, but I could also see, like, going with some sort of compromise variant where, like, the first corner post you build has variable materials, and then that determines the rest of the Palisade, basically. I could see that being a viable compromise. Is there a way to get iron without first getting other metal for smelter? None that I know of. The intention was always that you should have to, if you bootstrap from scratch, you should have to go through a little Bronze Age of sorts before you get to iron. First corner post is good. The Vox Populi says that first corner post is the way to do it. So maybe we'll consider that. Okay, I don't really know how. Like, if you were a noob, what would be your priority at this junction here? Like, if you were a noob, like myself here, getting a bucket instead of this wooden cup would be probably a good thing. We need to bucket up. Discover everything. Yeah, well, we discovered a lot of things last time, so getting a claim is good. Build drying racks. Drying racks is a good suggestion. Find a flat, pay and get a house. Let's build, a house is a good idea. Let's build, Gandicus asks, is Loftar reading this? Maybe, I don't know. I haven't talked to him tonight, so it's possible that he is, but I wouldn't. We were doing a bucket. We're gonna make a bucket. We're gonna bucket it up. Journey asks, new apartment? No, same apartment. But incidentally, one of the reasons I have been kind of busy this week is that we have bought a new apartment. So if you ever needed further confirmation that the peak of the Stockholm housing boom bubble is in, now you have it because we bought an apartment. You and Loftar? No, not me and Loftar. No. No. Nothing like that. You were always using a cup. Well, I'm still using a cup. Traditionally, I drink from a vessel. It's how I do it. But well, basically, you can make instances combined with dynamically created texture atlas. If Loftar needs some help, I can explain it to him. Now, I assure you that Loftar needs no help in the department. But thank you for the offer. But he's very well aware of the intricacies and whatnot. Yes, a dynamic texture atlas. We talked about array textures and whatnot. I've actually built a 3D engine for OpenGL myself, so I know somewhat of what I'm talking about, but it was a couple of years ago now, like 2017. I was working very actively after I did the critically acclaimed crazy game Boats of Sky, which we should really do a boats stream. Boat stream when? Should do a boats stream soon. Iron should rust, yeah. Are you saying there's a Mrs. Jorb now? I can't confirm nor deny, but probably yes. Yes, there is. Has been for a long time, but let's see. Someone in the forum brought up adding the ability to walk into the wagon, kind of like a house. That way you'd have a movable house type of thing. A player could lead a gypsy lifestyle. How difficult would that be to accomplish? First of all, I of course take offense at your prejudiced description of our Zigeuner Freunden. Kidding. Kidding. No, that could be nice, but I think it belongs to the domain, I think, of object-controlled objects, which is another one of the long-term projects that Loftar has on his table. Um, Oddly enough, usually it's Loftar having long-term projects, but I actually have a long-term project now as well, and that consists of redrawing every icon in the game. Robertson asks, will we see object control objects this year or no? I'd like to say yes, but I can't really promise anything. I don't really know. I wouldn't exclude it, but I wouldn't like bet my life on it either. So we're just gonna have to see. I think these things tend to, like with the client rendering rewrite, which took like a couple of years, tend to take the time they take, because a wizard is never early, nor is he ever late. He arrives precisely when he means to, and Loftar is somewhat of a wizard, so I pay great respect to the affairs of wizards. And are we going to expect lesser updates because of this? No, not really. This week was very special, so no, not really. It'll be the usual. I mean, the usual, for those of you who may not be in the loop, the usual schedule is that we push one patch each week. Roughly, we miss a week here and there, but usually it's one patch a week, and those are usually just minor developments. Sometimes we try to work in somewhat bigger projects in them as well, but usually they reflect just minor kind of day-to-day developments of just adding more stuff or fixing bugs or UI fixes or what have you. Eclipse X, and then we have longer term projects. I've noticed when I watched a stream that I did is that I've noticed that I have a tendency to like finish a thought halfway and then jump to a question in the chat or whatever. So I'm going to try to be more focused with actually finishing my thoughts. I think that's important in communication. But there have been a couple of questions here about weather. There's weather. Haven't you seen your trees swing in the wind? But yeah, they want weather, like rain and stuff. And we've talked about that. And I think I would love to do it. I think there's no real reason for us not to do it. There are several things we'd like to do that are kind of we speak of fairy dust internally, which is like changes that may have basically zero gameplay effect, but have significant or have potentially meaningful graphical improvements that make the game a little bit more magical. A little bit of attention to detail, and stuff that could go into the fairy dust categories would be things like waterfalls, things like adding like an icy breath from the character during winter, or one of the things that we've been discussing for a long time is generating like snow meshes to put on objects when they've been snowed over, which is a pretty big project. Like it's kind of a big deal. Like we kind of know how we want to do it, but they need to be auto-generated, so we can't really we don't have the art resources nor the clinical level of insanity required to try to actually model individual snow meshes for every object in the game. We could do it selectively for some objects if we want to do something special for an object perhaps, but the normal snowed over object will have to use a generated mesh. And so it's kind of a big project, and I think it could make winter look better, but it has literally zero gameplay effect. And the same could be said for a lot of weather. Granted, there are things we could do gameplay-wise with let's build a log cabin. We're gonna get a log cabin up. Cannot build. All right, we need to plow that MF first. Let's see, how do we do that? We build a plow, right? I can't build a plow. Why not? I lack farming probably. Boom. So those are but there are gameplay things we could do for rain and such. I mean, we could like ranging from little to small. I mean, I could see increasing the spawn rate of frogs, or increasing the spawn rate of, like, having earthworms crawl to the surface, or creating little puddles and whatnot. But rain, just in and by itself, is very much just like a fairy dust thing with very minor gameplay effects. Dang, son, that's slow. Maze Elwin says, frozen cattails on little mounds besides trees that have their seeds in them during winter. Winter is very hard for newbies. Yeah, winter is probably hard for newbies. Frozen cattails is probably a good idea. I noticed now that during spring that cattails should probably start spawning during spring. I noticed they only start spawning during summer, so. But yeah, I think season improvement project should probably be an ongoing thing. Zented69 says, somebody made an amazing suggestion on Discord. Could you add a huge statue or fountain or aesthetic object that costs gold, silver, notes, metal, or whatever you think is fair, but it gives a lot of beautiful dreams per harvest? I believe no one likes the looks of fields of dream catchers or the bots that harvest them. No, that's probably true, but I think like we could do that. I wouldn't be opposed to adding the magical fountain, perhaps, but I also noticed that there are several recipes that are just out of whack in terms of how many dreams they require. Like, several of them require like 2 or 3, or I think I even saw 4 dreams on some recipes. And Tulicia says, bump on the Nomad question. Quest sends you to other continents. The Nomad, I think you're being somewhat fooled there by the game. The Nomad quests will not send you to other continents, because the 3 main continents on which players can spawn in this world are technically not distinct continents. They are one continent in game terms, because you can traverse them just using a dugout, or another sea vessel of little importance or note. So, yeah, all the main continents are indeed connected by shallow water, more or less. So, Venetu says seasickness, suggesting another wound there. I like how you think, like the wound thinking. Definitely ought to get more wounds in the game, because the wound system is fun. It's content. All right. Can I get a AO? Average Benny says, why dungeons are not spawning on continents other than Maine? I wasn't aware of that. I see no reason why they shouldn't spawn on other continents. It may be that the main continent is so clogged with dungeons that you're not getting any new rolls on the other continents. And it may also be that the spawning rules for the dungeons are such that visiting an area like triggers a spawn check, and for that reason heavily visited areas could probably be favorized by in terms of placement. So that could probably be why. I could see all of those factors playing in there. Huju says 123 says better combat when? Well, that's a real question. As soon as we muster up the courage to take another dance with the combat system, I suppose. I don't know. I have some thoughts on it, but I'm not really ready for it yet. I don't think. We kind of we've tried to improve it like 3 times with various new regimes and not really gotten across the finish line. But we're not satisfied with present combat, so it's really more of a matter of time. The problem with it is that it takes a long time. It's a pretty involved thing to see if we can flatten some. We probably need the little cup We're going to do some land flattening here. Probably unnecessary plowing it if I'm going to dig it anyway, but here we are. Let's see. Boom. Zentit asks, can we discuss why you butchered Blacksmith Credo bonuses and how to fix it? Would you actually fix Credo bonuses mid-world? Depends on the fix. I'm not at all opposed to like changing some of the bonuses, especially if the bonuses aren't, you know, quality relevant or whatever. I could certainly add something a little bit more powerful to it. But there was a recurring complaint that the credos were too necessary, which we felt that we sympathized with, and hence we both made credos easier to get, and also nerfed or significantly adjusted several of the rewards that you get from credos. James 12 asks, wounds based on weather and temperature when? Probably never. Sounds fun in theory, sounds good in theory, and I wouldn't exclude it entirely. I think there are some biomes that should arguably be more terrifying, like mountains, for example. I think the game, don't like go all crazy with this now, but I think the game could do a better job of simulating like the harshness of certain environments, like mountains, for example. And temperature is obviously a factor in that. But I also like, having played the latest Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, right? I always call it Wild Waker or some dumb thing like that, but Breath of the Wild. And they have temperature effects there relating to clothing, and my experience with that was that it sounds a lot of fun in theory, but the practice is that you just need to switch gear before heading into another biome, or heading into a environmentally hazardous biome. And especially in Zelda, where you carry your entire backpack with you at all times, that's basically, it might as well just be an auto switch, more or less. So, kinda disappoint, kinda didn't like that too much, seemed somewhat unnecessary, so, yeah. I mean, it sounds fun in theory, but I think the practice of it is that you're just going to have to put on different clothes when doing mountain stuff or whatever, and I don't think that's particularly meaningful. So, not saying that it couldn't be meaningful, but it seems a bit tedious, so I'm somewhat skeptical. I am hoping you didn't get a hint from Zelda's weapon wearing thing. Wink, wink. Please don't implement my bronze sword breaking and for it. No, I agree that thing was way overdone in Zelda. I also because it's one of the main rewards that the game gives you for clearing dungeons and stuff is a new weapon, but a new weapon is more or less useless because like everything is a toothpick. Everything breaks in a couple of hits, even if it's the most epic sword of doom ever. And so, I mean, I just resulted to using the Master Sword more or less all the time because it reloads automatically when it runs out. So that was, yeah, exactly, a Master Sword. I just defaulted to the Master Sword at all times. And so basically whenever I cleared a dungeon and got a sword or whatever, I was like, oh cool, never gonna use that. We have received a visitor. Salutations. Hot single waifus in your area. That is one ugly ass sale. I'm not gonna show that anymore. It was, I don't know, hot single waifus in your area. Isn't a waifu by definition not single? Big shout out to what's his name? Kentaro, the guy who did Berserk, aka the only Moon Rune comic I was kind of following. Kentaro Miura, I think. He died, so that really kind of sucks. Miura, yeah. Because I was kind of interested in Berserk. I was kind of interested in finding out how the tale was going to end, but I suppose I shall never do so. I think I've I think yeah, it's one of the only like mangas that I've ever really read. I've watched a fair bit of anime, but never really got into the manga stuff. But Berserk I've actually read because I like the anime a fair bit. Robertson says, "Stop with anime talk, please." No, you stop, Robertson. You stop. Have you even seen Berserk? It's really good. It's a really cool story. I mean, it certainly suffers from, I don't know, it's a bit hentai-ish at times, and it suffers from a fair bit of power creep. It's like, what can you really do after you've smashed the ninth demon level lord of hell, and then you have to kind of top that with the next series, with the next installation. But yeah. Jorb is a weeb. Jorb is no weeb. Come on, dog. You know better than that, dog. Jorb is into the deep historical stuff. I spent a good 3 minutes talking about Mannerheim's autobiography. I think I'm entitled to one manga. Manga. Bizd says, but some punishment for being naked in places like mountains you mentioned, where it should be cold in theory, could slow down botting salt nodes with naked alts. No, that's not going to slow down any... I mean, again, sounds good on paper, but that's not going to slow down anyone who's even remotely serious about botting it. The alt is just naked because it can be. Like, if there were temperature requirements, then the alt would meet those, so I wouldn't invest too much. Nobody wants to hear about Monarch as well, dude. Read the room, Jorbo. Well, read me, Robertson. It's not just a question about what the room wants to hear about. It's a question about what I want to talk about. And I don't know, on that note, I really want to recommend this YouTube video. It was pretty good. The Ruins of Paris, 1871. Check it out. From the Library of Congress. Some dude. Some dude who wrote a book on the Paris Commune. And talked about it. I can recommend. It was pretty good. The dude was an American, so kind of cringe on that. Note. Like, it was really overemphasizing his French pronunciation, but nevertheless, the Paris Commune is an interesting period of history as well. So, are we getting Mannerheim or the Ruins of Paris in Haven? I don't know. No, probably not. No, let's be realistic. We're not going to get those in Haven. Okay, so we've paved out a nice little place here to place our log cabin. I feel that we've already made more progress in this one stream than I usually do in like 10 streams. So, dang, son, we're gonna have to find a lot of materials to build this. We're gonna do it though. Really could use a belt. Where did I put my bucket? Log sink when? Log sink? Why would you need a sink? Are we referring to storage? Is it storage you're actually asking for? Complains of the grind in his own game. LMAO. Yes, I do. But that is perhaps, with a sense of, I don't know, proper self-distance and proper, me knowing myself or me being reflective of my own game, and maybe that's a good thing. Drunken Jacob says, what are your thoughts on how recent changes, especially making metal spiraling nearly impossible, kind of killed late stages of worlds and trading? I don't like that it did that, but I also didn't really like the. I mean, it was for noobs. It was good, me included. It was good that you got a decent price for like any bar of cast iron that you could bring to market, and that was nice. Not gonna lie. Um, so that was a good thing about metal spiraling. But I think some of the incentives of metal spiraling, from the more serious-minded player perspective, were somewhat unsound, and I mean that was the reason for us removing them, removing metal spiraling, because you know there was a strong incentive to just bot out everything, to just really mine the living crap out of the cave levels, strip mine them basically, using bots naturally. And I didn't really like that. And I also didn't like how it made ore quality for iron more or less irrelevant. But without spiraling, there's nothing noobs can offer. No, that's probably also true. And I don't like that either. And I don't really know why that is. I've speculated, I mean, there are several reasons, I suppose. Like, noobs can't sell food because the quality is going to be trash. And you don't want to F up your hunger by eating trash food. So I suppose that's one reason. And then I think there's a problem of not being able to trade in the kind of bulk that would be necessary for trade to be good and efficient. Like I think if you were to buy like meat pies or nonsense like that, I think you'd need to like buy them in like orders of 100 or whatever, rather than walking back and forth, keep sawing up an entire log, then stockpile them near the construction site and build using the stockpile. Now don't you come here, Sonny lad, with your pro tip, pro gaming moves and interfere with my fumbling. But okay, we'll do it. Robertson asks, we're going to get to Robertson, but we're going to talk with Average Benny first. He asks, no meteorite this world. We were going to activate them like with this week, but since we're not patching, we're not activating the meteors either. So we're going to activate them. There are going to be meteors. We wanted to hold off a little bit until we'd seen how the thing wall thing played out and whatnot, and so. But I think we have, so there's no reason to not add them. But Robertson asked basically, how long does it take to draw a new animal? It depends on the animal. It depends on how much animation and whatnot it's going to have. Some animals would take less time than others, but I don't know, 2 or 3 nights maybe, like from nothingness to finished implementation. I think like 2 or 3 nights of work would suffice. Yeah, Childhood Obesity wrote the best effort post ever, and I want to reply to it, and I'm probably gonna reply to it, but I haven't done so yet. But I really appreciate the huge effort post there, Childhood. It was I thought it was a good read, and I thought it was a good write up. When are you gonna redo the ugly ass Lynxes? Asks Athenor. That's a good question. I probably should. They do look. They're perhaps not my finest work. I think I can do them better. Lynx are fine. They just look just like real life. I don't know. I don't know about just like. I think we can do better Lynxes. Fix Fox running animation too. Yeah, probably should. Fox don't skip. Fox don't skip and jump. Redoing Lynxes would cost dev time though. Unironically, I am somewhat reluctant on spending time just redrawing things. Hence why we're redrawing every icon in the game in higher resolution. But I am somewhat reluctant on just redrawing for purdiness, because could spend the same amount of time adding a new animal. What about adding geese? Sorry, it's my Karanka acting up. Geese would be fun. I don't know how you get them. Do you tame a mallard and it magically turns into a goose? SS Miggy says, new icons look great, by the way. Thank you. They certainly look better than the old ones. I'm not much of an artist, but there are, how do you say, there are levels in hell, and I think we've kind of moved up a couple of levels from the Infernal City, perhaps, to I don't know where. I don't know Dante's levels off the top of my head. But I have read the Divine Comedy, so at least the first Inferno part. The other parts, not so much. So there's that. But I don't remember the exact ordering of the circles of hell. Any plans to fix Palisade hunting? No concrete plans, but I'd certainly like to, because I do find Palisade hunting somewhat retardo. So I agree that it's not particularly nice. Got a chain of thought resulting in an idea. Add an emote pose like the one in the Stridor's icon. That could be. It's not a bad one. Olive oil, yes, please. Olive oil is already in the game, right? You can press olives? No? Can you not? Suddenly I'm unsure. I think you can. Yeah, olive oil. Olive oil is in game. I knew that all along. I know everything. I'm never confused. The game is. I've on my main. I've been playing more of this world than in like any world, really. I think I have like the most accomplished base start in a long time, at least. And the game is pretty huge. There's a lot of things you can do. At least it's very wide. Mind app boulders don't receive the wild mind bonus from Minor Credo. Please fix. Yeah, I'm aware of that one. Are you accepting new players to your village? I would. I kind of would like to, but I can't out myself. It really sucks. Honestly, I'd like to stream from my real village as well. I'd like to show you, a somewhat more advanced gameplay than what I'm showing you right now. But if I do, then I've outed myself, and that changes the whole dynamic. So I kind of have to play incognito, because, yeah. Can blacksmith faster smithing be changed? XD. I don't know. What would you want instead? Isn't it just good that you get to experience PvP and siege mechanics yourself? Yes, it would be, but I would hope that I would experience them in a natural way, i.e. not when like everyone and his grandma is out to curb stomp me just because I happen to be one of the developers. So I would kind of like that experience to be natural as well. Like I would like to be, I'm getting help. Dun dun dun. I'm getting help. I did not collect all those boughs myself. I'm being aided by this gentleman over here, who's picking boughs and doing the good Lord's work here. Thing walls currently don't provide a free trespass if they dump you on top of a claim the way caves and roads do. Intended or oversight? I'd say that's an oversight. I'm going to make a note of that. I'm just going to try to... No, I'm not going to do that. Thing walls currently don't provide a free trespass if they dump on claim like caves and roads do. Now you might be... this house turned out pretty nice, didn't it? That was a pretty nice house. I think I should look at these bow textures. I'm not particularly happy about those, but yeah, it's pretty nice. Make Strider make you walk fast. Yeah, that would be the obvious bonus from Strider, but we can't do walking faster bonuses because that has PvP implications, which are probably not to your advantage. There is a good thread on forums about roofing. Yeah, cool beans. Might check that out. What was the not using a designer tool before building anything? No, I'm not that autistic about it. I just generally tend to smash this. Let's get that out of here. Let's be a little bit more organized with our building here. Probably gonna dig this little stumpy out here. Adding content via credos is not necessarily a bad thing. It's still present in Potter's Credo, for example. Why not do something with blacksmithing in general? Smithing in general is such a shallow industry. There's a weirdly limited amount of things one can make. The amount of expanding you could do is practically limited. New metals, new metal variants, new alloys, new crafts, new armors, new weapons, armors, socketing for gems. Yeah, that's a boatload of information. Setting aside like the infinite scope of the things we could do, Infinity Merlin says, any plans to rework Timber House? It's ugly. Never build one. I never build one because it's too ugly. I just never build one. No real plans to rework it. I'm not going to spend, because with object control objects, the eventual hope is that we're going to get to freeform building, where you can build significantly more arbitrary house designs, and so I'm not going to spend 1 second of time reworking the existing houses for just looks purposes. I am well aware that the timber house is not particularly nice. Why is Potter Credo added after farming? It might be closer to quarryman. Yeah, arguably. Yeah, maybe. I could move it, but I don't know. Do we want to move it mid-world? Do we want to mess with the credos at all, or do we want to rework the system and move toward the much better system that I envision in my head? Those are the questions. Fuck up my credos. Do you expect Haven population numbers to skyrocket with freeform building? No, I don't expect them to skyrocket. I think that would be hubristically of me to say so. But I think it's important. I think freeform building is, I think it's an important thing. I think we lack in the building department, and I think that it shows. Regardless of what it does to user numbers, I want a freeform build. So there's that. I mean, that's been a part of the vision since always. The first house implementation that we did for Legacy was actually significantly more freeform. In that version, you built wall segments individually and whatnot. And it was only later that we went with the whole pocket world solution. Will freeform building force a world reset? No, I don't think so, not necessarily. I think it could coexist with the existing houses. So, is there a maximum cap of users for the server? Not a cap that we've implemented, but the server is single-threaded, so there's only one execution thread, and that puts a natural cap on how many users we can handle. I don't know if you were around for the world reset, but we kind of, with every reset, we kind of choke a little bit during the most intense phases when we have 1,500 people online. Okay, we got our little house up. That's nice. Let's work towards yeomanry. We can just go buy that right away, and let's work towards getting ourselves a claim. What do we need for that? Bone. We need bone. Let's go on a little excursion to find bone. I can see a whole new type of players joining the game once we have more freedom in building. Yeah, I think so too. I think you could make. I don't want to overhype it or whatever because it's a long ways away. Because object controlled objects is one thing, and then freeform building is another thing on top of that. So I don't want to build up hype that I can't deliver on. But I think freeform building could be potentially huge. So. What is freeform building? Basically, like right now, you construct houses by building these predefined models. You can build a timber house, the ugly one, aka the ugly one, and the log cabin, the somewhat nicer one. And you build these prefabs, basically these prefabricated models, and you can't change the size of the house, you can't change the layout of the house, you can't change anything with it. Azure says, have you played Valheim? No, I have not played Valheim. I probably should. It was pretty hyped, or is pretty hyped, but no, I haven't played it. I probably should, but I have very little, preciously little time to spare, my friend. I have a lot of things going on. Where was I? Freeform building. So yeah, I think it could be a big deal. I think it's one of those things that the game lacks. Like one of the inspirations early on for Building Haven was The Sims. I don't recall exactly what iteration it was on then, but like 3. Yeah, I wanted that building system more akin to that. I'm sure Valheim's is probably better. We should probably look at that, but I bet Valheim devs played Haven. Yeah, I have no idea, but if they did, then congratulations, or regardless, irrespective of whether they did or not, congratulations on delivering what I hear is a cool game. Free for subsistence is another. Okay, so we have no dreams, so we can't build a hearthfire. Me. Artswa says, when are you gonna balance dungeons? I don't know, dog. What's the balance that we need? I suppose is the question. What would you like them to be balanced for? Are they too difficult, or what's the problem you see with dungeons? I think that would be a better way to approach the question. Zented asks, would you consider the idea of setting up a small scenario type of thing on the test server for a stream? Like spawn yourself in a boat, fair stats gear, and walrus, or even non-combat related stuff so you can show more mid-game content. I wouldn't be entirely opposed. I guess. I could probably, like, I should probably play on a test server if I'm going to cheat massively, because there's a snake. There's a snake down there. I do not want to interact with the snake. I just recently got a new tea shipment from my tea dealer in Japan, the Ippodo Tea Company. And it was like I was running out of tea, and that's never a good thing, but the shipment arrived in the nick of time. I poured out the last of the tea I had as I opened the box delivering the new tea. John Fogarty says, how can you say you're not a weeb, Jorb? What the fuck? Truth be told, I'm so old that I don't really even know what a weeb is exactly. Is it just a nerd or a weeaboo, right? Like it's a Japanese, I'm a Japanese Japfag thing. Maybe. I can't keep up with the lingo. Lingos are you kids in your darn motorcycles. Yeah, exactly. Wappany, yeah. Yep. No, I have a healthy admiration for things Japanese, I suppose, but I'm not like crazy about it or anything. No, Now, Sweden now. Sweden. Now that's where it's at. Swedish culture. Best culture. Can you explain how to calculate the quarry arts? Nope. Nope. I'm just going to nope right out of that question. I have no idea. So I don't really... I've gotten reports on it, like having off quality or whatever, but I think we looked at it and didn't find anything. So, I don't know. No. The Chiron says Swedish girls, wink. You know what I'm talking about. Am I right? Am I right? Yes, sir. Why not move H&H logo over minimap instead of crafting window? Yeah, I've been deliberating where to put it. Maybe that's a better place. I don't know which information is more pertinent. Where are the rabbits when I need them? Why are there no rabbits here? Should rework the rats. Ah, there's a rabbit. Should rework the rats to be more akin to a normal small animal implementation. It's a bit of an old implementation, but you should arguably get a bit of bone and stuff from them. Whoop. That's a bad lag there, sir. Rat dungeon. Yeah, rat dungeon would be sweet. The hole in the wall. Obviously replete with references to H.P. Lovecraft's The Rats in the Walls. Pretty good novella by the undisputed king of the American Horror Story, H.P. Lovecraft. Probably not a controversial opinion, but there it is. Rat mounts. I have at times considered like dropping all pretense of realistic gameplay and just add outlandish things and just go really crazy with adding outlandish things. Like I would like place more Earlights with smithing with the ability to smelt nuggets by hand. It's a pretty hot take there, pretty saucy, spicy take there. Kershey tea. Have you ever seen the movie The Count of Monte Cristo? No, I have not. Rat Skull Candle when? Rat Skull Candle, Monte Cristo. Sounded cool. We'll have to watch that movie. Okay. More haircuts, beards, and hair dye when? Asks Robertson. I don't know. Ooh, we have a situation, boys. We have a fallen boar here, but he's guarded by his boar comrade. We can get all the bone we need from this fallen boar here. But his boar comrade seems to be moving off, so the situation has resolved itself without further need for worry or concern. We're just going to leave that and go pick that up and... Damn, son. Sorry about that. We were interrupted by an elf, and a little elf came. Alright. He doxed himself, in my defense. It's one of my minions. Future. Now they're all asleep, so or should be asleep, but apparently he's not. So where were we? Any plans for new clothing, like robes with cool colors and other things like this? No. We can outrun this. We can outrun it. We shall. The snake shall not get us. Snake shall not Yeah, not even close. We can even stop to pick some. Oh, we don't have any space for them. Whatever. Nerve damage, Incon? No, sir. I have a bucket, so I can run for days. Any plans for new clothing? Yeah, I have been thinking about a bit of a rework for the gilding system. A couple of things we got away from the nasty snake, that don't really sit too well with me. I kind of don't like how the gilding system, it incentivizes you to churn through a lot of clothing, which means that the clothing items themselves, you tend to go for the cheapest ones, the most mass-producible ones, because you destroy the clothing pieces when gilding, which I think is a bit of an unfortunate incentive. I would much prefer if the incentive was to churn through gildings rather than clothes. I think that would be better, incentive-wise. It also leads to all sets looking similar, yeah. So, with that being said, more clothes, sure. Any particular... I mean, the problem with clothing, as with most aesthetic things like that, like house design or architecture, is that there's such a huge possibility space that it's hard to exhaust meaningfully. I kind of feel that pressure when making new clothes. It always feels like I'm just trying to empty an ocean using a spoon. Ray tracing support anytime so soon? No, not that I'm aware of. It's not something we've even discussed. So, balls that just arrived. If you already answered the question, just ignore it. Question: give meteorite, please. Yeah, we're gonna spawn the meteorite. The meteorite is gonna fall, dog. You have a lot of types of hats in the game, yet you use the same one on every time in streams. Yeah, it's because this is my hat. This is the one I wear. Art Saws asks, will there be a patch today? No, unfortunately not. A lot of things going on this week in Jorb land, so no patch this week, unfortunately. We've done some things, but they're so minor that I kind of don't want to push a whole patch for just those things. I've redrawn a few icons and whatnot, but it's nothing major. When Meteor? Probably sometime next week, or this week, the one that starts now. Alright. Boom. Snap, crackle, and pop. Looks a bit silly that I always have a pipe in my mouth because there's nothing else to put in the slot. Yeah. Yeah, I found it kind of silly that the gauze that you have around your head occupies the mouth slot for no reason. I thought that was a bit silly. Let's see. So what are we doing? So this kind gentleman has made us cattail stew, which we're gonna eat graciously. So how do you all go about eating in the first couple of days of a new game? Are you very conservative about it? Like you don't eat anything, basically, or how do you go about that? Do you really try to preserve your hunger early game, or what's the new meta, the hot new meta that the kids are into these days? Only spit roast fish. Okay. Okay. Just eat everything, says Stoics. Mostly fish. Yeah, I could see mostly fish being a thing. alts for everything so you don't have to eat, says BMJ Clark. That's a hot, spicy take. Specific type of fish. Well, okay, but like, alts aside, let's assume you're just LARP playing like I do. Nut jerky, smoked sausages. Yeah, them smoked sausages is pretty good. Eat everything, then make a real character once you have real food. Oof. Oof. Drown character when a ship work is done. I did that with my main. It wasn't. I didn't intend to, but I suppose I played the game optimally then, because I drowned myself twice. So, what happened to my construction? Did I not build a drying frame here? What? Did it decay? What happened? I had a drying frame. It's gone. Mysteriously poofed. Dang, son. It decayed on me. That's weak sauce. I kind of feel that there should be like some sort of protection there. Like if you've interacted with the object recently, then I'm just gonna move this thing over there. Go hide in shame, boat. Go hide in shame. Cannibalism when? Human meat has the feps of the character you're eating. No, I don't want to. That's too morbid. We've talked about it, but you can do it in Unreal World. But I think it makes, given that game is so, focused on, survival themes, I think it makes more sense there, and you're eating NPCs, so I think that's more, it fits that game better. I think it would just be kind of morbid and dumb in Haven, so I don't want it. I think it's too gruesome, so we're not going to do that. We want the game to be relatively wholesome, at least. Try to steer away of the more nasty topics. Toot asks, what do you think of Gardening Pot's collision box? It's a bit small, but other than that, I don't know that I have any opinions on it. What should I think of it, is perhaps the question. Relatively wholesome, implements malaria. Well, I mean, malaria is I mean, I'm not going to say it's wholesome, but it's not nasty. Kind of ugly. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit small. It should perhaps be larger. I mean, you really wanted to have a bigger bounty box? You sure? Want to buy a rack to put gardening pots more vertically. Yeah, I mean, that would be an object-controlled object thing. We could do things like object-controlled objects. We could do those types of things where objects control other objects, but the objects are being controlled are still fully accessible and whatnot. No Indicator says, Haven is the best game I've ever played. Thank you. I think it has its moments. Like, with the world reset and everything, I was really enjoying it. The first couple of hours of a new world are always very special to me, at least. I really enjoy those. So, yeah. What is your take on mine support repairing? It's pretty annoying and pointless, to be honest. Would you consider at least adding a stone repaired support or tuning down the damage? I don't know. I guess the reason we added it was that we didn't want the mining mini game to be entirely nullified by the mine supports. I suppose that's the reason for it, and yeah. The Grimmer9 asks, how do you choose every new map for every new world? Just casual or try different examples? For the past couple of worlds, we have... wasn't I collecting bones? Alright, I put them over. Put them over here. We all good, dog, my dudes. For the past couple of worlds, we've generated like 10 snapshots of the world. Basically just taking the seed of the world map and generated a rough outline of them so we can see where the main continents are, rather than, we're not then generating the full map with, complete with rivers and everything, but just generating a small snapshot of it, and then we've sifted through those 10 and picked the more interesting one. We have debated how we should handle that. I kind of contemplated just rolling a map and going with it this world, but the map generator can kind of throw you some loops. It can give you some weird results at times, so better safe than sorry, we thought, and because it kind of sucks for me too when I know the main outline of the world. It sucks a little bit, but it's a cross I shall have to bear, I think. Alright, we're ready to get a claim up. About map, do you fix manually some part of the map? We go in and we add the Ring of Broadgar, the main stone circle at the center of the world. We add that manually. We add like the statues, we add manually. So there's a little bit of touching up, but very little. This world, we did some. We stitched the three main continents together, because when we looked at the preview that we had, we thought for sure the three main continents were going to be one continent. But when we actually generated the map, it turned out that they were separate. So there was enough deep water between them to make the game continent calculator consider them as separate continents. So we fixed that. We made them. We forced them to be. We went in and we added some shallow water to make them one continent, because that was what we had imagined. There are statues. I even confirmed that they were in the last world as well, so they've been in every world. I think there are 6 statues. Somewhat unsure, but there are boots. There are boots. Let's see. Did you have any other generations done or no? No, we only fully generate the one that we actually end up picking. So we don't. We just look at little thumbnails, basically. Did the thing walls auto-generate too? Yeah, for sure, dog. I'm not manually placing the 180 thing walls or how many there are. So yeah, naturally, no, the map generator will place those. Could you stream the fight going on at the moment? I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but cool that there's a fight going on. What's the fight about? Yeah. Let's see where we are at now. We need more dreams, so Dreamcatcher bugged? No, I don't. I have no reason to believe. The hottest waifu. Probably nothing, because there's no meteor. But zing, my dude. We're gonna dry that, and we're gonna build another drying frame. But I cannot emphasize enough how nice it is that summer is finally here. Me and the little elves went swimming in the ocean today, and that was a lot of fun. and it was nice summery weather. We've had several days with got a bit of a tan, very minor, but can you keep streaming till it's done drying? I can probably do that, but I don't think that would be a good idea. Do you have a 6-pack? I have a 6-pack of beer in my fridge. No, I don't. I sure hope you didn't swim in Stockholm after all that sewage leaking out. I don't know of any sewage leaking out. I don't think there was any near any place where I lived. So the water was just fine. By the way, what is your thoughts about winter, spring, no seed season? Seed respawning took hell long. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I certainly understand and sympathize with the complaint that it kind of sucks in spring when you have no seeds available. So I sympathize with that, but at the same time, more realism indicates that seeds should become available like during summer sometime. Damn! Someone has a link. Avloppsvatten rinner ut i Stockholm. Extraordinär händelse. Ja, det är oroväckande i så fall. Dang, maybe I just went swimming in Jenkum. It would be awful if that were the case. It could be, but no, I don't think so. It seemed fine. You got swamp fever. Yeah. Fuck show. Buff winter duration, nerf spring duration. Really? You want longer winters? I thought we all agreed that winters were the worst. And I'm tempted to play that Swamp Fever song that some guy did. Please add visible cliffs so that you can more easily notice that there's a cliff ahead, because under a certain angle of the camera you cannot see the cliff. No, I'm aware of that one. That's a good... We should probably fix that. There are... Yeah. For sure. We should fix that. I too... Because you can barely see that there's a cliff here, which isn't nice. Only thing worse than winter is spring. Probably true. Just gonna check this out over here. I have the stream open over here so I can see it. Mr. Sibakame says, finally I got the time to watch the stream. Glad that you could join us. Glad that you could be with us tonight for this momentous event. Whew. You should teleport to the PvP that's going on right now. It would be funny. Yeah, I kind of would, but I don't want to be like start running dev commands and shit and messing up their little fight. I don't want to accidentally anything. Yeah, we were building this. That is true. We needed a dream. Still no dreams from that dream catcher. Let's build another one. Let's build us another one. Can we study this crap? What's better here? Cattail head or water strider? When this dandelion pops, we can pop on a cattail head. You can add delay to the stream. Yeah, I don't want to mess with them. Plus cover map. No. These are good ideas. Why do bees go away in summer? Bumblebees, you mean? Because they were intended as a spring unique curiosity. That's hence why they are springtime bumblebees. let's see. Right, we were building another dream catcher because the one we have ain't providing, my dudes. It ain't giving us what we need. Why y'all so fight-oriented? We're doing a peaceful, wholesome, derping around stream, and y'all just talking about fights and violent things. Did you ever read this thread? It's a short take on making winnerless cancer. Alright. Might look at that. I think I may have read it. What was the key takeaway there? We are fight oriented, so you can at least once see a real PvP. Lol. No, I'm not. I'm joking. Obviously, I realize that a lot of people play the game for the PvP and whatnot. So I don't diss that at all. Violence is sad but necessary part of our fallen existence, and I don't object to it per se. The Grimmer9 says, "Do you ever miss Haven Legacy?" I don't miss working with the systems that Haven Legacy implied working with. I kind of enjoy being able to do arbitrary animations and using 3D graphics and such, because I don't know if you realize, but like the sprite sheets for Old Haven are pretty thick. There are a lot of sprites, and they were all hand drawn, so they weren't like rendered from a 3D model in before. Oh, we can tell by looking at them, but it was a lot of work. So, and for very little, for a kind of weak-ish out effect. So I don't miss that. I can certainly miss a lot of the naive charm that Legacy had. I can miss I mean, whenever you work on any project, the start has an exhilarating quality because you're working with a blank sheet. So the possibility space is, maxed out, which is fun. And I can miss that. And I can also, we are a lot more cynical now as developers, and that comes with experience, that we know what works and what doesn't work. Like the mapping mechanic that we had in Legacy, for example, was cute and kind of fun, but also kind of dumb because not going to waste too much time discussing it, but basically you drew little maps of the world, and then you could have these maps on in-game pieces of parchment and whatnot, and it was nice, but why would anyone use that way when you can just download the minimap data and look at that instead? Perhaps desert, tundra climate regions in a future world? Yeah, at least tundra. I could even see desert being vaguely applicable. There are regions of Magna Europa that are somewhat desert-like, so I wouldn't necessarily, but I wouldn't want to add Wild West cactus Egyptian style desert. But Legacy did have unique graphics, very very unique. Unique is a kind word. No, but Legacy definitely had its charm. It was. I'm not going to diss it too much. It was fun. It was fun working on it at the time as well. So we had a lot of fun with Legacy. But I think I don't know. I don't have any. I can view it without nostalgia glasses on. The graphics were memorable. Thank you. That's kind of you to say so. I agree with you. I think they were. So. When are jams implemented to give some more uses for berries and some fruits and sea salt as an actual spice? I don't know. Sea salt as an actual spice. I think we could do well to do a general salt rework, because I think you know, we could have like mineable salt in mines, and we could have, you know, sea salt crystals, like maybe some Tibetan Himalayan pink super salt, summer salt. um, uh, uniqueness. It doesn't mean you're useful. Exactly. Constant 300% for everyone. Yeah, no, I mean, the point perhaps being that, you know, maybe all salt should not reduce hunger or whatever. I don't know, but we could do. I think we could do more with the salt industry. Can you add saunas so we can LARP washing each other after a nice sweaty PvP fight? One of the inspirations for Haven was Unreal World, and Unreal World has saunas being a big thing there. So I wouldn't mind, and I even for Legacy, I drew a a sauna for Legacy that never got implemented because we didn't really know what it. You know, we couldn't think of a good mechanic for it, I guess. But now that I think about it, I can think of some mechanics that could perhaps fit the sauna theme. So we could definitely do saunas. We should do saunas. Would be cool. The question is, it would kind of imply another house. So, and I don't want to do houses. So. Yeah, some healing buff or whatever. Yeah, could do stuff like that. New wound from staying in sauna for too long. Definitely. You had me at new wound. Bring back happiness meter. The legacy happiness meter. That was a good one. Well, again, one of the more like naive implementations, and that one was pretty much lifted straight out of Sims. So we had like a happiness meter, which. But then we were like, I kind of recall us having this discussion, like where, do you get more or less happiness from like, you know, butchering rabbits and, you know, doing the macabre things that, you know, like being around bones and whatnot? Does that make you more or less happiness? And we talked about how that should tie into the personal belief system and all kinds of nonsense, but I don't know. It was always kind of hard to model. Though I do think like it could perhaps be, I don't know, somewhat nice maybe to have, you know, the interior decoration of your house matter a little bit more in terms of what it actually, you know, in terms of in-game effects. New ones get him super excited, yet he runs from a snake to avoid nerve damage. Inconsistent. No, sir. Very consistent. I like the wound system, but I don't want to get the wounds. I mean, half the point is trying to avoid it. So when you bring in modular houses, that means the inside of the house will be 1-to-1 with the world instead of the current 1-to-3 with pocket houses, so pocket houses will be removed. I mean, again, like, I could see them coexisting in the same world, so if by removed you mean we would have to nuke them, that's not the case. But, and also, I mean, the current houses have footprints that reflect their interiors by and large, so I wouldn't say that they are 1-to-3. I don't think they bend the volume equation too much as it is. But yeah, they would certainly just be objects. Why no more belief system? Mostly because the implementation that we had wasn't particularly good. We had these personal belief sliders and you can move them around, but it was just a time thing, so you kind of always wanted to, like, there were some strange incentives around having a character, you know, starting characters in advance of actually beginning to play them, just so that you could set their beliefs to whatever optimum you wanted them at and whatnot. So I think there were a lot of, like, mechanical oddities with how that system worked, and for that reason, I suppose we haven't re-implemented it. But I definitely, I have some love for the original impetus there. So, Jorb, why are trellises so energy intensive to make? I didn't know that they were. So no reason, I don't think. I mean, that's just some arbitrary value set in the blueprint definition in the codes. So I guess someone just set that slightly off from what you could reasonably expect a trellis to cost in terms of energy. So there's no malice or forethought behind that. Some things that drain insane amounts of stamina. Cupboards, trellises, etc. It may have been like a balance idea, but they should have some cost associated with them, perhaps. I don't exactly recall. Can we remove the hitbox of trellis for some quality of life? Nope. Nope. Loftar is dead set against anything that even breathes of bounding box removal. So that is not going to happen. When will you begin polishing endgame? Need more skill or stat-gated things? Currently mining is only one, and it's trivial with just a small competent group. Yeah, it's probably true that the end game could be more developed. Dakan has the right idea. We must maintain bounding box integrity except for things we don't. Pretty much. Spot on. Yeah, let us inspect mine walls and logs to tell which material it is once you have already discovered. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Walls to tell material. That would be a reasonable change. It's one of the dev cheats I've used a couple of times because I can do it. What about adding rye? You could make lots of stuff out of it. Dark bread, kvass, etc. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We have wheat and barley, but we don't have rye. So we could probably add. We could probably profitably add rye. Advent the Great says, "Love this game. Thanks." You're welcome. Thank you for the kind words there. Let's see. Potato for vodka. Distillation of grains. Potato. Now, potato is too New World. I know we have pumpkins, but I don't want to add potatoes. That just... It's one bridge too far. Colsey TV says, "Hi, I gold sub thinking I could build a village with banners on water, but I can't. How do I cancel?" Just load your Glock and just put it to your head and just press the trigger thing on that. Kidding. It was a joke. But basically, KYS. KYS, gold. Kidding. That was a joke. Don't. Never do. That's never the solution. Canadian. What's a Glock? It's a type of candy. Alright, we're waiting for these bastards to give us some dreams so we can finish our claim, but they haven't provided yet. Lila, please check these bad boys for dreams and put a dream in a basket if they spawn one. I'm gonna go on a little foraging excursion in the meanwhile. More emotes. Rock, paper, scissors. That rock, paper, scissors would actually be fun. You should go grab some dragonflies from the closest swamp. They're great early curios. Good thinking there, Overlord. Maroon. I don't know that we know of a swamp anywhere in the reasonable vicinity. And I haven't built a hearth fire over here either, so I don't want to... The Norse people didn't have carrots, cucumbers, tomatoes, pumpkins, but we have those. So why not potatoes too? You don't have tomatoes. So no, you got schooled, son. You are wrong. There are no tomatoes in the game. Slam that swamp with a dugout. Great update, by the way. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Especially that swamp fever. I like the original implementation of swamp fever better. I have a 430 wretched gore wound on 910 HP. Stitch Pat heals 1 per day. Help me, Loftar. Well, I think it's time for you to start camping the ancient wind throws in your vicinity to bring that bad boy down. We got nightshade berries. That's in the tomato family, I guess. Oyster mushrooms on Mirkwood logs. That's a good one. Oyster mushroom. Yeah, tree mushrooms in general. We could do that. Tree mushrooms. Oyster? Question mark? We could do those. How about a magical deep cave crop called potato? Potato. Nihiro 1988 är något jag funderar över är local resources. Kunde vara kul med någon random spawn som sedan försvinner när man har harvestat det. Kunde ge lite mer trade. Maybe, but you cannot speak the language of the gods in this mixed setting. It's the Gnostic secret language of the enlightened ones. This is not understood easily by the foreign barbarian hordes. So I can't answer that really. I wish, yeah, it wasn't. You can Google Translate if you want to know what that meant. Nobody can read that stone in the spawning room, by the way. The stone in the spawning room? What do you mean? I was so sure you were adding chagas when I saw warty birch and that to your tree mushroom. Chagas. I don't know what chagas are, but chagas. What are chagas? Eustace Baggy says, also thanks for keeping Onip as mod. Yeah, thanks Onip for being a great dude. Rest in peace, sir. We salute you. Yeah, right. Yeah, from the Edda. Yeah, right. You get the first part of a quote from the Edda in the character creation room. That when you die, you see the continuation. Yeah, that is true. That is true. You do get that. And no one can read that. That is true. Freaky medicinal birch mushroom. That sounds fun. I'm gonna have a. I know I'm gonna have a fun Wikipedia session with that. Chaga is really good. Yeah. I'm not huge on mushrooms myself. Like my mom is really huge on mushrooms. She picks a lot of, like, not the psychedelic crazy mushrooms, but normal mushrooms. She picks a lot of them and eats them with some delight. I don't know. I think it's a bit of a too squishy taste for me. Really, I'm not huge on mushrooms. Like, I had a period when I was like, I'll eat anything. I'm a complete omnivore. I love everything. Everything is great, and I'm still mostly like that. But if I'm being honest with myself, mushrooms are not my go-to thing. They can be nice at times. It depends. Like chanterelles are pretty good. So, chaga is really good. Yeah. I make tea out of it. You make tea out of it. Is it like some drug thing, or is it for taste? Because one thing that I have been thinking is that I was running the Mystic Credo early world, and I didn't like how it asked me to smoke opium, which was like way out of reach tech-wise for me. Or it was so far down the tech tree. I want to add like, bushcraft style drugs and have Mystic rely more on those. Achy bones. Mystic sucks, yes. Yeah, we can agree to disagree, that's fine. Mystic is fun. Granted, the experience quests are a bit mystic, but kind of goes with the territory of the. The only problem with opium is it's still a mystery to people. Yeah, we should probably maybe the opium mechanic is a bit too obscure. Maybe it should be a more straightforward harvesting thing. Because whenever I've wanted to grow opium, I've kind of. We're talking in Minecraft, not in the real world. I've never really liked the mechanic. Whenever I really wanted the stuff, it's never been a fun process trying to deduce whether the fields are ripe for the harvest. The Grimmer9 asks, how far are custom buildings? I don't know. Again, we rely on the whims of a wizard to bring us these things, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I think custom buildings are a good ways off. I'm hoping object-controlled objects could be more feasible in some sort of near time, but when did Loftar start with the object-controlled objects? I mean, he started it back more or less after we wrapped the client rendering stuff, I guess. But that was a kind of drawn-out project, and even after even after we pushed the new client, there was still a lot of work to be done after that. Can you bite the bullet and just add the 10,000 page Excel sheet edition of Jerky to our lives? Also pemmican. I'll write this down. Pemmican and Jerky. You get a will consider on that one, sir. I shall grant you a will consider. It's not a bad idea. Just out of curiosity, can you move trees with god power? That tree used to be here, but now it's here. Boom, son. Zoing. The world was never the same. Touched by the gods, that tree was. Have you had a reason to increase the realm mood yet? Yes, I've had a million reasons to increase the realm mood, you absolute retards. But I haven't done it because I kind of don't want to. I've had a million reasons to turn it up, including using another realm's banner as your banner, including, well, what else was it? Naming your realm retardo things. Plenty of reasons. Selling your character. Plenty of reasons, but I haven't actually done it. Dream is ready. Dream is ready. The dream is alive. Thank you, sir. Well, corrupted world, yeah. It'll be cut within the hour. Twitch God says we can't sell characters. No, officially, no, you cannot. I mean, there's no support for character transfer, so selling your character would imply selling your account. And we don't support account transfers, so... Look, 95% of all support errands that we get with this game are start with a lie. Hi, I've lost my account, so-and-so, could you please help me get it back? And 10 out of 10 times, it is not a hack, it's not even like someone brute forced your passwords, it's never any of that. It's always you shared your account and you lost it. And now I have to spend time sifting, and we've had several occasions where we have multiple people claiming the same account, including instances where like multiple people have bought things for the account, and that puts us in a strange situation. So yeah. Why are you against village banners over water, by the way? Because you cannot build a banner in the water. It's impossible. Boom. We got a dream. We got a dream, boys. The dream is alive. Build that thing. Pop. Snap, crackle, and pop. Buoys. Yeah, sure, sure. Okay, so we should probably wait. Hold off on extending this until it's actually... no, it's not bugged. I just harvested one from it. Probably just... it would be a floating thing with a stick. I hear that you are somewhat of an engineer there, Coles. A floating thing with a stick. That must be a technical description. You can build a hearthfire. Yes, I can build a hearthfire. This is true. These are true facts. Ah, the claim turned out pretty nice as well, right? Got that porphyry going. Got that porphyry thing going. Gonna get me a hot fire. We can build a... we have 15 minutes left on the normal 2-hour stream here. So if y'all feeling it, you can shoot me your best questions. Save the best for last, I suppose. Concerned Hearthling. Yeah, we already answered the get a lot of dreams question. Do you have any statement about player name selling his character? No, I don't. Will you be back next month? Yes, I will. God willing. I came close to just not announcing the stream tonight, but then I was like, no, we said we were gonna do it, so we're gonna do it. So we're gonna do it. So Lord willing, we shall do it next month as well. Patch tonight? No patch tonight. Sorry, Dolmic, we didn't quite get there. Be honest, how often do you cringe in real life regarding named players' forum posts? I don't want to be mean, but like every now and then. Not always. Will Loftar be back though? The stream is sorely missing him shooting down every idea proposed. Yeah, that's probably true. But I don't know, the streaming is kind of something that I've... originally when I started streaming, it was something that I took upon myself to do because it was something that I could do to kind of, I don't know, in a humble and mild way advance the cause of the game. And so I don't want to like lay it on him to the point where it's something that he feels that he has to do. So I occasionally ask him to come on, but I don't want him to like have to do it or whatever. Thank you. I enjoy these streams. Thank you. I enjoy them too. When I do them, I really enjoy them. But I have a fair amount of procrastination is not the word I'm seeking. But okay, what's going on here? Some odd graphical effect there. Seems to be kind of off. The alert for the chat was off there. Is there a patch today? No, Vasteel, no patch today. We're gonna miss this week. Any sneak peeks? No, so no sneak peeks. Thus, do you play the game more nowadays than you used to? Yeah, after this most recent world reset, I've played the game a great deal. Sinjin says, name presidential candidate 1, by the way. I couldn't care less, but yeah, maybe. We all lost, I'll put it that way. Robertson says, you got next week's patch planned out? No. So, I mean, we got some good ideas here, I think. I think inspect stuff walls to tell material was a good one. Look at that thing walls currently don't provide a free trespass if they dump you on a claim like caves and roads do. That was a good one. Tree mushrooms was a good one. Pelican and jerky. We could do any of those things. If you village buoys. You know what, Cozy? We're going to give that a will consider. We're going to... buoys. How do you even spell that? It's such a freaky word. Have you ever thought to try and join a village of a few people without saying it's you? Yes, I have, but I don't know. It's kind of a big commitment, and I don't. It feels like a big commitment. At least. It feels like I'd have to be online a lot. I realize that I could probably get into a village and play casually or whatever, but I don't know. I'm somewhat reluctant to take on like things that force me to engage again, but I realize that I should. It would be good. New types of alcohols and spirits. When we already have grain. Yeah, we talked about that just the other week. Actually, that was one of the ideas that we had for this week. So we talked about alcohol. So we talked about like a drug effect for being drunk and all the we had back in Legacy. We had like these tiered debuffs that you'd get from being drunk. So. Riyadh Nikos. Oh, right. Can you Riyadh? Yeah, we're referring to some stones that were removed by spring. They accidentally during spring, they melted away. And they were placed by the map generator, but there were only like 20-ish of them in the game, so we can probably add those back in manually. Could you change it so alcohol in appropriate vessels does not decay to vinegar? It makes drinking a hassle as you need to grab from the barrel every time. Really? Does wine in bottles turn to vinegar? Because they should. Also, are there statues still in the game? There are dev statues. Yes, they are in the game. I don't think wine's in glass cup thing. Yeah, I could see the glass cup thing, not in bottle, but in wine glass. Yeah, sure. I don't know. I mean, if you leave a glass of wine out in the open, then it's not going to be any good. Also turns into vinegar when in water skins. Yeah. New wine and old skins. We have oils. Could we get fried foods? Maybe. We'll consider. Though I don't know how you feel about like just adding random more food stuffs. I mean, I kind of like it from the LARPing and it's fun to craft something else angle, but I don't know. I have heard it that some people do not appreciate more random foods added to the game. Less foods, says Cold CTV. I think that's a weak ass take, Coles. I'm tired of a low random machine. You have a way with words. Deep fried bird is already in the game. Strider quests are so hard. Haven't run Strider, so I wouldn't know. I've never done that one actually, so I wouldn't know. But maybe I should. Yeah. I like the variety of food in the game, but a lot of it is trash stat-wise. Probably. That is probably a true statement and observation. Let's see. We got pretty far with our little base this game, or this sesh. I mean, the next obvious step, I suppose, would be to try to palisade this stuff. You should try Pearl Diver with acquire Mother Pearl every third quest. Oof, harsh. Football with leather ball, for example. Yeah, I mean, we already have a leather ball. Would you love? I mean, what more? What do you need? Like a goal, or there was Orca fight? Says Mopsy PC. Where did the new clay idea come from? I actually watched a documentary on the British Garden, which detailed British landscaping from the 18th century-ish. and they talked about Codestone. So, which was apparently a hot thing for a couple of years in the middle of the 19th century, and how it was used for a lot of statuary and whatnot. And the dude in the I don't recall his name right now, but he's like a big he's the host of the main BBC gardening program or whatever. He was talking about Codestone and how it was used for a lot of statuary work and whatnot, and how it was malleable and really cool. And he went to some little workshop thing or factory place where they had rediscovered the recipe for Codestone and were making and restoring old Codestone things. Pretty cool. Are you watching Townsend's channel? No. Don't know what Townsend is. By the way, fox ear was a great ad. Let's see more stuff like that. Also, have you considered making the ears a craft? 2 ears plus hide and string equals fox ear hat. Oof. Salty, spicy take. 2 ears plus hide equals fox ear hat. Good one. Yeah, furry, weeaboo. All those words confirmed. Kawaii. What did Knickers Rocks even do? I can't comment on that. My fiance wanted me to ask if you ever plan to go back to add variable faces for the players. Last time was such a smashing success, so I don't see why not. But no, definitely. I mean, if we ever rework the character model, I think adding variable facial features would be fun. So I guess, and I mean, I think there are a lot of people who think that these features are not the best. Beards growing with time again. That would be cool. Art drawing stream maybe once in a while, says Average Benny. Yes, I would do. I was actually considering doing that tonight, but I don't know. This will sound silly, and this is silly, but I'm a little bit sensitive about it because I don't want to be like, I don't know, made fun of because I can't draw for shit's worth. But it's fine. We'll do it. But I'm a big boy. I can take it. But it's just that like I do a very, I'm very primitive in my drawing. I'm not very good. I'm not very adept. So I'll probably look like a fool to someone who actually knows what they're doing. Custom sketch area for the character face. Let's go. Dollar. Get the dollar bill, dog. It's actually not a bad idea. Like all the default characters have this face, and then you gotta pay to look handsome. Could you watch some Nordic roofing videos from old times? Perhaps we can get more variety and better textures then. Yeah, maybe. I have been known to watch architecture. Coward, my pal streams his furry smut game sprite work every day and doesn't afraid of anything. Yeah, that settles it. We're doing it. I'm not going to get knocked out by a bear to close out the stream. That would be dumb. Cattail reed, yeah, that was a good one. Slate was often used as roof tiles. Maybe let us use it. Yeah, I would let you use various types of stones and bricks and whatnot, but I don't know how I would handle because it can't use the same mesh, because the mesh that the roof currently uses is intended for boughs or those types of materials, strawy types materials. clearly know that it's been, Jorb would be a coward unless he streams himself drawing furry smut sprite work. I'll tell you this. On Twitter, I follow everyone who follows our Twitter account. And my tagline for that was build me a Twitter stream worthy of Mordor. And boys, I have a Twitter stream worthy of Mordor. A lot of the people who follow us on Twitter post some kind of cringy things. Not everyone, but there's a lot of not very wholesome anime type content. So. Alright, boys and girls. I think that's going to be it for tonight. I think it's midnight here in Sweden, and I think that's going to be my cue to slip out of this and into something more comfortable, i.e. my bed. But thanks a lot for this. It was a lot of fun, as usual. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Grimmer9, Sinjin, Smidge, everyone. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. We'll do it again next month. Well, maybe some art drawn. Maybe get some of that art drawn stuff, and yeah, it was fun. Thank you so much for all the good questions and whatnot. And sleep tight when you do. Don't let the bed bugs bite. You can find the game at havenandhearth.com, and stay safe in and out of game. Jesus loves you, and yeah, namaste. Sleep tight, guys. See, is it F2? I think it's F2. Good night.